buckle yourselves in, because Steven Crowder in this episode literally says, and we've watched a good bit of Steven Crowder content. We've watched a good bit of Steven Crowder. I think that this might be objectively the worst thing that Steven Crowder has ever spewed onto the internet, which is really saying something. It's really saying something.
We empty out all the money in the cash register.
Justice, no.
Oh, God.
Hang on a minute, Cindy.
Oh, God.
June 18th, Pikes Peak Center, Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Did they forget to edit in the beginning of this show? Oh my God, they did. Huh. That's funny. Was the title a giveaway? Yes.
That's delicious. And I just realized Dave was here last week in this chair, so I didn't fully adjust my headphones and microphone. I have to set it to human height.
Hey,
I'm kidding. I love you. Hey, Dave, you been losing weight?
Don't try that now.
No, seriously though, you look like you've been.
A little bit.
You doing the keto?
Jenny Craig.
Oh yes.
I still call 94 Jenny.
As opposed to the Weight Watchers. What's her name? She's in Michigan. That lady.
Is she?
The lady who created Weight Watchers. She's super rich. I spent a 4th of July at her house one time.
Did you really? Is she bigger now?
No, she's not bigger.
Oh,
I'm quite certain she's anorexic now.
Good.
Florine Marks. And I'm kidding. She's not anorexic. She's a very nice lady.
I'm sure.
Yes,
she's anorexic.
No, she really is wonderful.
Fair enough.
Horrible start. Very glad to be with you.
But yes, I'm bulimic.
Yes.
I'm doing the Karen Carpenter diet.
Yeah, well, look, if it works. I'm doing the Watch the Drag Kids Show diet.
Oh, vomit?
But I repeat yours.
The same.
It's the same. It's the same.
Really is.
It's only just begun. So, we have a lot to talk about today. We're a little late because something just happened with the...
Zize, he is indeed the worst. And very not funny. And chat, please give subs and bits to compensate me for the pain that I'm about to endure.
Uvalde shooting, a man came forward, and it's a heartbreaking story, but a man with a gun tried to stop it, and the police and the feds, the marshals, told people to step down. So some new developments that really don't make a lot of sense. We'll talk about that. We'll be talking about the child drag show that's taking place here in Texas. We'll be talking about Native Americans. AOC, she claims she's one of them. She's not. Oh. And also why almost everything you know about that is wrong. And here's the thing. Here's kind of a through line.
Almost everything you know about Native Americans is wrong. Can't wait.
It is amazing. We'll also be fact-checking Joe Biden, who lied like 5 times this weekend. There's so much to get to. No, he lied like 5 times in the span of 48 hours, and it's not even close to being true. There is such a lack of even the remote
I don't know where
conscientiousness of potentially being called on your bullcrap from the left. They're
I
lying.
Like my glasses.
They know they're lying. They know that we know they're lying, and they don't care anyway. And so a question that I have for you today is, does that concern you going into the midterms? Oh, that's the wrong thing you brought up there, Tim. Can you cancel it? There you go.
It has to run its course.
Does that concern you? That does concern me going into the midterms a little bit. They know that we know they're lying, and they don't care anyway.
Yeah.
And is it just, was something about Stalin, something counting votes? I don't know.
I forget.
What are these votes you speak of?
Yeah. And this is what you meant to say. So if this gets removed here, because we will be addressing the child drag show.
Do I know what the Republican Accountability Project is? No. Also, I doubt that there is any project that will help keep Republicans accountable because they just do not care.
In Dallas, you can watch us on Rumble every Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Like today, it started a little bit late because of some exclusive info. Or you can watch an additional 45 minutes on Mug Club.
Yeah.
Which today we have a wonderful video segment on Mug Club that we could never air on YouTube.
Nope, Archangel.
From
You're
Pops
just
Crowder.
in time.
Mm-hmm. You saw this clip where you saw a transgender individual who identifies as a 6-year-old girl riding a motorized trike. It's recorded on a cell phone.
It's real?
It's terrifying.
Nice.
It's the stuff that gives children nightmares. So,
It's a remake of Dumb and Dumber.
yes, exactly. Well, they're not swallowing June bugs. We have Gerald A. How are you, sir?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm okay. The air stopped working at the top part of the house yesterday, so I slept in the basement, and then the air stopped working there as well.
Well, my job is complete.
Yes, so I didn't sleep, but that's
It
okay.
worked.
Yeah. Dave, how are you?
Ahoy, I'm good.
The
Can't
quickest.
complain.
Yo, Abyssaliss, thank you for the 1,500 bits so that you may repair your brain after this dog shit. Abyssaliss, I appreciate it because truly, my brain is going to be broken. And I need all the bits I can get to repair it for tomorrow.
Wit in the West. Oh, by the way, we mentioned that early on. Go to loudwithcutter.com, loudwithcutter.com/tour. We are going to be June 18th, Pikes Peak Center in Colorado Springs.
Fine, I've mentioned it just because it's 40 and I'm not excited about it.
That's
Well,
okay.
You mentioned it, and I got scared. I was like, oh, crap, I missed it. And I think Dave left town, and I'm like sending out a text like, hey, guys, it's his birthday. Then somebody's like, hey, it's not until next week. I'm like, oh.
See, even in
It's,
trying to be nice, he screws it up.
I know, but he meant well.
Yeah.
I'm the age of what my favorite drink used to be.
Yes.
Natalie
The
Marie,
40.
thank you for gifting
Only it
Dr.
doesn't work every time.
Robotnik a sub.
So
Sometimes you
before
need two.
Hell yeah, welcome to the
before
family.
we move on to the drag show, and by the way, to people who complain like, why are you addressing this? There's stuff going. There is nothing more important to Western civilization than the idea of mothers, fathers, husbands, and wives in the nuclear family. And if you don't see how dramatically insane it's become that we are now taking children to cross-dressing strip shows, if you don't see that as teetering on the edge of losing civilization, then you...
By the way, I just really need to emphasize here, every time Steven Crowder goes down this road, he is doing incitement to violence, folks. He is implicitly saying that trans people are causing the collapse of society. And if we don't do anything about it, if someone doesn't do something about it, society will crumble and be destroyed. Yes, he is attempting to incite stochastic terror. I want to collapse society so good. Look, my position has always been, if society is so weak that trans people cause it to collapse, it doesn't deserve to stay up, okay?
You and I just disagree.
Yeah.
So don't ask me to stop covering. I'm not.
No.
I think teetering is a nice word.
Yes. Yes.
If you think I think it's well past.
Yes. Uttering.
Yes. So now the co-host Gremlin chimes in and says, actually, society is crumbling. It's past the point of no return. Trans people have killed civilization.
Yes.
So before that, though, something that actually this country, it's a great. I mean, I don't want to say once was great. It's still a great country.
Yeah. And
it'll be great again, after the midterms and hopefully 2024. But June 6th, 1944, Allied forces, of course, stormed the beaches of Normandy. And that was one of the most important moments of World War II. I think we have a clip here.
I think that was the Canadians that were walking ashore unmolested.
No. That was Juno Beach.
Yeah, true. The clip of D-Day was actually they had a lot of heroic music playing in the background during D-Day. A lot of people don't know that.
This is far more chaotic.
We've all seen Saving Private Ryan.
It's not quite this. I'm trying to raise my microphone here while we're doing this during this very sincere moment.
Well, and it's the anniversary of this today. 1,465 Americans were killed, and overall 416,000 were killed in World War II in general, right? So
That's crazy.
yeah, that's. I didn't know it was that high. I knew the number was in the hundreds of thousands. I didn't know it was over 400,000 that were killed. And by the way, if any of us could have gone back to that day, can you imagine? Like, put yourself in Saving Private Ryan. You're standing next to Tom Hanks, and you're like, "All right, everybody's nervous. They're throwing up," and you show them a cell phone. Like, man, I really appreciate what you're fighting for today. By the way, in June of 2022, they're going to be doing this, and you show like the kid drag queen thing. I'm like,
Well, don't you know? Just you could have just said this. And
Just gonna pause it right there. What a weird fantasy to have playing through your brain, where you're like, hell yeah, we time travel. You time travel back to 1940. You know, you're talking with someone while they're about to storm the beach of Normandy. They'd fucking kill you because they think you're a witch or some shit. Okay, like, let's be real here. Also, yeah, I don't think they know this, but like, all of the performances to entertain the troops were done in drag. Like, all of them. The US troops would be very familiar with drag queens, okay? Yeah, they would literally be like, "Ha, nice, excellent. Hey, KF Logan."
you go to the clip.
Well, then we're on the wrong side of things. They would have been
Yeah.
like, turn the boat around.
They were like,
Turn
"Oh
the
my
boat
gosh!
around?
Well, hold on a
Sorry.
second.
They'd
I don't like
stop the fight.
right.
Look at
They
this,
were
guys.
right.
Yeah,
We don't believe in everything, but mostly they were right.
yeah. They've been like, so look, okay, Pearl Harbor, that one's on you,
Yeah.
but there's the Bay Area over there.
So here they are now talking about, actually, the Nazis were pretty in the right to persecute gay people, you know?
Take that area.
We
Leave
were
Napa for
blaming
us.
the Jews?
What?
It was our fault all along.
I can't believe that. We
This
thought
is
it was
all
the
of us.
Jews, but this is actually like really severe. Like, I made up the things about the Jews. You're actually doing this. You're actually having 5-year-olds hand dollar bills into your panties and your geisen?
Yeah.
Release the Jews and apologize.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is too much.
They make the Jews sign a treaty like, okay, listen, we will release you on the terms that you are now the Gestapo for all the drag events.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they sit around fantasizing about releasing the Jews from concentration camps so that Jewish people can become the new secret police to only catch gay people and trans people. Literally, Steven Crowder thinks that the only thing that the Nazis actually, what the Nazis actually got right, Steven Crowder thinks that it's genociding gay people. That's what Steven Crowder actually believes right there. Now he's about to backtrack. He's about to say, "Oh, but I mean, obviously the Nazis were the greatest evil on Earth." But the entire point of this joke is that actually gay people should have all been genocided. Actually, trans people should have all been genocided. And if you connect that with the preamble that went into this bit, you'll notice that he also thinks that gay and trans people should currently be genocided. Because gay and trans people represent an existential threat to all of Western civilization from his point of view.
The earn this parts where he's like, he better invent like a better light bulb or something like that. He's like, he better make sure that the trans community can go out and have kids walk the stage with him. You better do something like
Yeah,
that. Earn this
Hitler's just like,
sacrifice.
Also, drag performers are not trans people. I mean, like, sometimes they are, but usually most drag performers are like cis guys.
Oh, what is this decadent lifestyle?
I'm going to paint it. And everyone's like, that's terrible. It's like, what is that, post-surrealism? He's like, no, this is real. It's happening.
No, it becomes this. Look, I dress like this just in drag.
Well, Hitler was in part a response to this kind of culture developing in Germany.
Now, let's be clear.
Let's
Of course,
defend Hitler.
no one is defending Hitler or saying that he...
terrible.
The only point
I'm
that we are
saying that
making...
he would jump on board with it because he's an awful.
He's
Yes.
an awful human being, probably the worst in human history.
He would have been a self...
Agreed?
Yes, Hitler would have been a
Top five.
self-loathing
Yes.
drag dancer with...
So, I don't understand this. I think it's an attempt here to save their save the bit. It is a big picture in my rear end. But what they're essentially saying is that, yes, Hitler did genocide the gays and the transes, but he would secretly be a gay / a trans himself. Even though that's not a thing? That wasn't a thing? This is such a bafflingly terrible segment.
He's an awful human being, probably the worst in human history.
He would have been a self...
Agreed?
Yes, Hitler...
Wait.
I dress like this just in drag.
Well, Hitler was in part a response to this kind of culture developing in Germany.
Now
notice his coworker, his co-host here is like, yeah, actually Hitler's movement was in part a response to all of those gays existing, all of those trans people existing. Like, he straight up says it, and Steven Crowder at this point realizes, oh, holy shit, we just recorded like 5 minutes of us, like, praising Nazis. Oh shit.
Let's be clear. Of course, no one is defending Hitler or saying that he...
terrible.
The only point
I'm
that we are
saying that
making...
he would jump on board with it because he's an awful.
He's an awful human being, probably the worst in human history.
He would have been a self...
Yes, Hitler, famous for genociding Jews, Roma, the disabled, the gays, and the trans people, would definitely have been trans. That makes sense.
Yes, Hitler would have been a self-loathing drag dancer with children. That's what we are saying. So if anyone here is... So really, if anyone here is more like Hitler... Most like Hitler, one could argue, it's these people abusing children.
Yes, trans people and drag performers are truly the Hitlers of our time. Truly, Steven Crowder has hit on just an absolute, like, airtight argument here after praising the Nazis. That ain't it, Chief. That ain't it. Oh yeah, also, this is the horrible degeneracy that he's talking about, okay? Oh my god, a fully clothed person doing the splits? Oh my god! You know, this is actually somewhat reminiscent of a different thing. It's reminding me of a different kind of degeneracy here. Okay? A different kind of degeneracy. Alright? Holy shit! They're teaching children how to do it! Holy shit! They are teaching children in classes called ballet. It's a newfangled art form where they teach children how to be degenerate. This is the real child grooming, okay? When will liberals stop pushing ballet on innocent kids? Oh my god, I recognize that move as well. Oh my god. I recognize that as well. Oh my god. That was a communist dance right there. See? That's what she was doing. She's a communist. Oh my god. These are Russians, Chad. Oh my, oh fuck. Oh Jesus. They're indoctrinating the kids to be degenerates and communists. Oh my god. Oh my god, the horror. Oh my god. Disgusting. Disgusting and degenerate dance moves. Oh my god. She's fully clothed. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is reminding me of something else. This is reminding me of the #1 result on Google when I type in beach bikini. Oh my god. Wait a minute, chat. Wait a minute. Chat. This performer is wearing far more clothing than this beach bikini. Wait. What? How is this performer being degenerate when they're wearing more clothing? Maybe it's like a transforming outfit. Nope. It's the lack of clothing here. The performer has penis? I don't know. Do we know that?
Now, to be clear, because right now, you have this petition for discovery against Daniel Defense regarding the Uvalde shooting, the manufacturer of a gun, because they're saying it could have been advertised to children. This was advertised directly to children.
Yes.
This event. It says, the ultimate family-friendly pride experience, fit for guests of all ages.
Really?
I don't know. I mean, can Milton Bradley argue that they have a trademark on that and just sue them?
I think so.
Suitable for all ages.
It's called Drag the Kids to Pride. Yes, you would have to drag them there. There's no reason they would want to go there on their own.
Oh, drag me to hell.
You want to go play catch? Totally different meaning.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And the cats and the... I was about to say a word that I can't say.
Can't say that.
And the cats and the transgenders and the...
Wait, but the song is The Cat's in the Cradle. You would just be like shoehorning a slur in there for no reason. Like it doesn't even fit there, Steven.
Silver spoon.
Little boy in the bathroom.
Oh, jeez.
By the way, you can really tell where their heads are at. Conservatives have like this real creepy obsession where they like fantasize about trans people raping kids. Like it doesn't happen enough in real life, so they have to like sit and like think about it all day, every day.
Son's not coming home, and we both know why. I'm a bad father.
Because he's no longer a guy. Yeah.
A family-friendly experience.
Yeah, one of the family-friendly, and one of the signs there read, "It's not going to lick itself."
Oh God.
Yeah.
Hopefully, take my son to the balls game.
Yes. Yeah. Someone get the owl from the Tootsie Pop to sue them. How many licks did it? Gosh. It's not factually incorrect. I get it, but it's
No,
also
it's
sexual
crying.
abuse
Yes.
of children.
Yeah.
Here's another one. I licked it, so it's mine, which, by the way, is not at all how property rights work. So this is
Now, wait a minute.
factually incorrect. I get it, but it's
No,
also
it's
sexual
crying.
abuse
Yes.
of children.
Yeah.
Here's another one. I licked it, so it's
Now, let's see here. What was the name of this bar? Let's see. No, this wasn't it. I don't think. Yeah, no, this is Illinois. Here we go. Now, oh, the Mr. Mister. Okay, Mr. Mister. Let's see. What is this place? Ba 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 da ba da da da. Okay, so it's a gay bar. Okay. They also have drag brunches. Yeah, this is fine. Again, folks, we've been over this. If you have a problem with this, here's a list of the top 10 jokes only adults will get in SpongeBob SquarePants.
How did these jokes possibly make it onto a kid's show?
Here you go, Your Majesty.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 jokes content. The target audience. Number 10, blowing balloons.
Oh, Squidward's not at his post!
What do you do to help out your coworker who's fallen asleep on the job? Naturally, you blow up some balloons that you just so happen to have on hand and create a balloon animal likeness of them to take their place. At least that was SpongeBob's bright idea when Squidward was neglecting the cash register. You might not have noticed as a kid just how much the long, transparent balloons in question resemble condoms. Worse still is the image through the kitchen window of the balloons expanding as he blows them up.
There's something missing.
Number 9, the French tickler.
Okay, that's a pretty fucking good one. But like guys, there is innuendo around kids all the fucking time in children's television. They only care if it's gay. Conservatives only care if it's gay.
She will never reach you. She must first pass through the 4 floors of fear.
Speaking of condoms, SpongeBob and Sandy have a run-in on Karate Island with a villain named the Tickler, who just happens to be French.
You cannot pass unless you defeat me, the Tickler, and my iron finger style.
His name in and of itself sounds pretty inappropriate without even knowing that French Tickler is a type of condom designed to enhance the experience of the
Is it oh my god. Oh my god.
person, let's say, getting tickled. That reference probably went over the heads of the kids watching. But not to worry, there was also the image of his giant hand tickling devices to scar them for life.
I could use a wet map.
Number 8, sorry about the scabies.
Hello, my birthday cake.
Oh, yeah, that!
Okay, they weren't even trying to be subtle with this one. Poor SpongeBob has spread himself too thin, promising to help Mr. Krabs fix his telescope, assist Sandy with a science presentation, and attend Patrick's birthday party and buy the cake. SpongeBob finds himself in a Mrs. Doubtfire kind of situation, running back and forth between the three. He forgets to pick up the cake for Patrick's birthday, and in his last-minute search for one, he can only find one with icing that reads, "Sorry about the scabies." There's no good way to apologize to someone for transmitting an adult disease. So why not a cake, we guess?
I haven't got all night.
Yeah, neither do I.
Okay. Let's go to number 1 because we are not watching this entire thing.
Patrick, your genius is showing.
Where?
Sorry, Sandy, I have to go get my haircut.
SpongeBob doesn't have hair? Or does he?
Number 1. SpongeBob watches
my
sea
God.
anemone. SpongeBob is a pretty excitable guy, but there's only one thing he could have been watching quite this excitedly. While flipping through the channels, SpongeBob stops when he comes across a dancing sea anemone. Something about the way SpongeBob lights up while watching this is the first indicator that the sea anemone might be doing something a little more racy than just dancing. The second indicator is when Gary walks into the room and SpongeBob changes the channel in a panic, claiming he was just looking for the sports channel. Sure, SpongeBob, the sports channel. We believe you. Clearly, SpongeBob was watching sea porn.
I was just looking for the sports channel, Gary.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out.
Yeah, okay. Alright. Yeah, I licked it, so it's mine. Something that children are definitely going to be scarred for life by seeing.
Which, by the way, is not at all
Dread
how
Pirate
property rights work.
Roberts.
So this is
Robots, thank
also
you for the
something
follow.
that they don't seem to comprehend in the transgender community.
Is that not true? I've been going by that forever. That's how I got my house and my car.
Licking is 9/10 of possession.
That's
Steve.
what I thought. I've been going about this all wrong.
That's all the pilgrims did when they landed.
Yeah.
I love how they're both outraged by this, but also just laughing at the sign because it's funny.
What can we
It's
do?
mine.
You don't want this anymore, right?
Yeah, that's how they gave him smallpox.
Yeah.
Wiped out the Indians.
Yeah. They're like, look, I just thought it's how it worked. I didn't mean to kill you guys.
Good. Genocide jokes. Amazing.
Here, it's our tradition of take the tobacco leaves and place them in our loincloth.
Oh my gosh.
This is, we have passed
Holy fuck.
this down for generations. This is known as young twerking one. Show them your ass.
Yes. Motorboat until it's mine.
Yes. So this is what they had kids doing. They had them handing dollar bills to, which, by the way, I mean, I know people can say, well, what's wrong with that? Well, it's generally done at a strip club, which, if you bring children, is illegal when they are cross-dressing. I don't, look, today's
If anybody
transgender...
asked what's wrong with that,
Yeah, exactly.
that's on them.
You know what? That's
You
fair.
shouldn't have to explain
No,
that.
I shouldn't have to. You know what? You're right.
We all know what's wrong with
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why it's wrong.
Wait, what's wrong about this? She's wearing a normal dress. The performer's fully clothed.
Ridiculous.
Wait, what, like, seriously though, what makes that fundamentally different from, like, I don't know, going to see a Hannah Montana concert? Like, what is fundamentally different? Like, there's the handing of money? How exactly is that scarring children? Yeah, I guess paying a performer is gay. Yeah, they see the catwalk and think of strip clubs, but, like, it's not the same thing.
And here you even have kids, and by the way, this is actually really sad, performing with the drag queens.
I mean, oh my! If you know and you think you can do it like we do it, I want you to come up here real quick. If you think you can do it, if you think you can walk the runway with the girl, who wants to be a diva for the day? You ready to do this?
Wait, so they volunteered for this? It wasn't like their parents were like, go on, you have to do it, Timmy. Like they wanted to come out and like strut their stuff. The horror, walking next to a fabulously dressed performer. Oh no!
On the count of three, here we go. One.
By the way, that kid clearly.
Let's go.
Yeah, he looks
Yeah.
happy.
Clearly uncomfortable being there.
Well, I mean, that kid.
My mother beats me.
That kid dabbed at the end. I saw a clip where he did a dab.
That was the.
I'm not saying that they're preying upon. I'm not saying that they're preying upon easily impressionable children, but that kid was. I mean, he looked like Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah. Let's see here. Will we see it? Will we see it here?
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. For granted, me, cause it's everything. Your identity, it's mind over everything.
Okay.
Think of yourselves.
One should have a space
Oh, wait.
show where kids dragged the kids to Pride event at Mr. Mister's in Dallas's Oaklawn
See if
neighborhood.
they have this.
Organizers promoted it as a family-friendly drag show where kids danced with the performers. At
Yeah,
today's event
yeah.
allowed-
No, they show it here. Here. Because Lord knows, to make his point, Steven Crowder has to lie.
He dragged the kids to Pride event at Mr. Mister's in Dallas's Oaklawn neighborhood. Organizers promoted it as a family-friendly drag show where kids danced with the performers. What came with it were protests outside.
I'm not doing that right now.
the symptom of a dying society.
Performers.
Yeah, look. Kid fucking went and did a dab. He's having a good time. Alright?
Hunched over. And yeah.
Why aren't you?
I thought I'd be seeing a kitty. Turned out a good man had a pee-pee.
He looked like
Wait, how... Why do you think that these kids are thinking about the performer's genitals? Why... Like... goddamn, these guys literally think that these kids, like, walk up and just, like, are constantly thinking about the genital situation of all the people that are around them. Which is, real fucking weird and predatory.
played when he was a kid.
Yeah, I know, and it's like, you know, they want to act like, yeah, this is good, this is healthy. Let's have these kids.
Yeah.
The kid clearly is on. This is child abuse. This is child abuse
Absolutely.
from parents.
He fucking dabbed, my dude. He was having a great time.
And they are preying on young, impressionable kids.
Okay.
Kids that want to do anything possible to make adults like them.
And they're telling the kids, this is how we approve. You are, look, kids, it's just learned behavior at that point. Right? It's learned behavior, and you are saying this is how you gain approval from adults is by going to these places and making it rain.
Yeah, you know, going to all of the family-friendly drag shows that are being held all the time at this local adults-oriented gay bar. I don't think that's something that kids are going to internalize. 'Cause I don't think that they have these events that often.
And walking down the catwalk with male/female strippers. This is what mommy and daddy want.
Yeah. At what point has the pendulum swung?
Again, not strippers. Strippers take off clothes. Drag performers, at least in this family-friendly drag show, do not. Again, it really sounds like Steven Crowder just wants them to take their clothes off. Just wants the performers to take their clothes off. And also, I'm gonna level with you guys. There is definitely a non-0% chance that Steven Crowder has been at a club and accidentally hit on someone who is cross-dressing. given the rumors that circulate about him with trans women, there's a non-0% chance of that happening. Yeah, accidentally.
Far from, look, we just want to make sure we have equal rights in this
McWigan.
community, all the way to now where it's like, no, you can't say anything about kids, 5-year-olds being exposed to this and not thinking.
Oh no, Freaky Beats, the rumors are that Steven Crowder has turned up in the DMs of numerous prominent trans women. One of the rumors being like Blair White. At one point.
That it's wonderful and applauding.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bar, first of all, but also, let's say you argue that they're not all scantily clad. There's a light on the wall that says it's not going to lick itself.
Right.
They didn't turn off the light.
Right.
That says it's not going to lick itself.
Yeah. Matter of fact,
yeah, because if the light was off, you'd be totally not commenting on it being there.
They actually added it for this event. That was a light bright. That was a custom-made light bright. Light bright. Time for a light bright. Remember that?
They didn't add it for the event. It's a part of the venue.
Commercial?
Yeah.
Only it's dicks.
Yes. Good night, light bright.
Yes.
I'll suck it in the morning.
Yes. It won't do it itself, light bright.
Very true.
He's talking.
Why are they fantasizing about sucking off a light bright? What the fuck is wrong with these people? Like, conservatives will say this is comedy, but, Jesus Christ. This isn't comedy, this is like a weird non sequitur that is, like, Freudian in the extreme.
Talking to his uncle.
Yeah.
Just wearing a wig. Good night.
Well, they'll save money on Teddy Ruxpin because they don't need the animatronic mouth. It's just permanently open. Ah.
Good night, Light Bright. Mr. Light Bright.
Oh my gosh.
Why they spend so much time concocting hypotheticals where children are getting raped? I mean, one of the reasons I enjoy watching Steven Crowder is that, like, it is a fascinating look into the conservative, like, mindscape. There goes my libido. Yeah. Also, chat, I've been streaming for 4 hours now. Please consider throwing some subs or bits my way so that I can pay my rent and eat food. Because I would like to do those things and also have healthcare.
None of the kids could read.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure they can.
I'm willing to bet a good portion of those drag strippers couldn't read.
What parent does this? Like, what parent in the world says this is a good idea?
Wait, why would the drag strippers not be able to read? Also, they're not strippers. They're just drag queens.
Idea.
The parents who, by the way, got our previous, and this is why we asked that you watch on Rumble and on Mug Club, got our previous video removed because we insinuated that the transgender community was targeting children. Remember? That episode was removed.
Yeah.
You can watch that episode in the banned
Glam Pixie, thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it.
archive on Mug Club. It was one of them which was banned.
Unbelievable.
They said you can't insinuate that they're coming for children. You can't insinuate that. Remember, we had these conversations.
Can we say it now?
Can we say it now?
I mean, again, there's a big difference between saying there are pedophiles and saying the trans community is full of pedophiles or gay people are pedophiles. You know, there's a really big difference between talking about pedophilia, which is a problem that is not limited to just, like, LGBTQ people. Again, I said this at the beginning of the show, 80% of people who sexually abuse children are heterosexual men. Statistically, there is a much higher likelihood that any of these hosts, or Crowder himself, have sexually abused their kids. Because guess what? The younger the kid is, the more statistically likely it is to be a family member doing the abuse. Children under 6, like 6 years old and under, it's a 50-50 shot. 50-50 shot as to whether or not they are going to be sexually abused by their parents. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, there's like for like 12 to 18 or 12 to 17, I guess it's like a 25-ish% chance, like, that if sexual abuse occurs, it's someone within the family. But that at that point, if sexual abuse occurs, it's either within the family or done by someone like a family friend or a member of the community, you know?
Is it fair game if we have video evidence of them coming for children in a specific instance here? Can we say it now?
I don't know, a cucked husband who throws away a football and a baseball bat into a trash can with a little tear in his eye.
Yeah. That's actually a good point. Also, by the way, I wouldn't take my kids here for the same reason I wouldn't take them to a normal strip club. What do you mean? Right. Heterosexual, heteronormative strip club, meaning not weird. I wouldn't take them to a normal strip club because I'm a decent human being. You don't take kids to a strip club. This is a good point.
No, not half of all people are molested by their families. Of children who are under 6 and are sexually abused, half of them it comes from within the family. Also, yeah, don't bring your kids to burlesque clubs. Don't bring your kids to strip clubs. Don't bring your kids to 18-plus venues or 21-plus venues. Pretty easy to say that. But also, drag shows that are family-friendly are not the same as strip club shows. And anyone who's even remotely familiar with either would know that that's the case.
You made it's a bar. I remember when I was 17, or if I was doing they used to have you have to wait to do your set.
You can't. Yeah, you can't bring kids to a stand-up comedy club.
No, and it's not even. It's a gay bar.
Yes,
it's not a regular bar, and I'm not saying the gay bar is the worst thing in the world, but they have signs that say it won't lick itself.
Well, that is a particular fetish. It's as like I don't know.
Yes. Blowjobs are a particular fetish. Definitely not something that like almost every adult enjoys.
A casino?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Which, by the way, we're going to be talking about Native American and.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. Conservatives are bad at sex. Okay. Absolutely miserable at it.
Oh. AOC a little later on.
Now, I've been hearing that, like, this place might also be an ice cream parlor, but I haven't, like, I looked at the website for the establishment. It just seems like a gay bar. I didn't see any ice cream on the menu, which is a bit disappointing.
Well, the AOC casino?
Yeah, the AOC
we tried to make
casino.
amends. We tried to make amends.
That never pays out jackpots.
It doesn't, no.
It doesn't, because it's under constant renovation.
The ice cream parlor is across the street and has the same signs? It's across the street from an ice cream parlor? I'm not really sure how it's connected, why the signage would be connected.
He's just bad with her eye.
Oh, you've seen the map? They share ownership? This is a very confusing situation.
The security cameras can never look the same direction.
Oh, snake eyes.
The googly-eyed bandit.
Craps is just all snake eyes.
Yes.
I hope I get a 2. Shoot.
Oh, snake eyes.
All right. By the way, speaking of this, hit the share button if you're on YouTube, because the algorithm doesn't like anything that we do right now. And I'm sure it doesn't want us to.
And chat, hit the sub button if you haven't yet, or gift a sub. Remember, if you see unsubbed people in chat, they're being exposed to the cold, cruel world of advertisements.
Talking about the Drag Kid Show. They want it to be in your... do me a favor and then comment below. Search Drag Kid Show in Texas, and I'm curious.
The vibes are off? Yes, because Steven Crowder is a fascist, horribly unfunny, and just wants to kill gay people.
Curious to see what shows up.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what shows up. You want to create transphobes?
We'll just say the Canadians weren't the ones that were unmolested.
Right.
Different meaning of the word, Dave. So
here's something else that is important before we get to the Biden fact check here. The there was an Uvalde. You know how people always mock the idea of a good guy with a gun stopping a bad guy with a gun?
Yeah,
really? Well, the fact is, we've talked about this. Statistically, guns save far more lives than they take in the United States when you take into account defensive uses of firearms. It's not even close. Boom. That's done. Point is over. They lose. Now, we had that with Sutherland Springs, right? Stephen Williford was on the show. One of the deadliest shootings in modern American history was stopped by a guy with an AR-15. Could have had that exact same scenario here.
Speaking out for the first time exclusively with NBC News.
By the way, just as an FYI, the idea that firearms effectively protect anything is somewhat laughable, right? Here's a report. The report Priorities for Research to Reduce the Threat of Firearm-Related Violence indicates a range of 60,000 defensive uses of firearms per year to 2.5 million defensive uses of firearms per year, which you might notice is a very huge range. Meaning we have no idea how the fuck many times per year guns are used defensively. And of that, how many of the defensive uses are successful? Right? Because a defensive use of a gun isn't necessarily a successful defensive use of a gun. Like, you it's the data on this is spotty as hell.
Cody Briseño recounts the moment he ran outside the funeral home he works at and approached the Uvalde gunman, all happening seconds after the shooter crashed his pickup truck.
How far were you from him?
I was from like maybe 8-10 feet around there. And as he takes out this rifle, he's looking at me, and I tell my coworker, "Oh man, he has a gun, he has a gun." And as soon as I say that, I tell him, run, he has a gun. But I'm looking back, and this guy's already pointing at us. And you just hear, pa, 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 pa.
Briseño says minutes later, his wife arrived bringing him a gun just as police showed up at the scene. He says they stopped them from going after the gunman.
But my intention was to stop him. And I mean, I feel guilty, man, because I couldn't stop him.
The police should feel guilty.
Is now helping with the funerals of several of those killed, including Amarillo Garza, a relative of his.
I had to dig the grave, set up the tent.
I mean, the real criminal thing is that the police didn't go in and stop him in the first place. Like, this guy shouldn't have to go into an active shooter situation in an attempt to save lives.
And lower her casket.
Couple of things here. We're going to try and get this man on the show. You shouldn't feel guilty. Those police should feel.
Also, it's me, Natalie Marie. You sent me this, which I don't know if Cauldron ice cream is the same, but also it appears that there are just a lot of different signs related to ice cream shops and not licking itself, which makes a whole lot of sense in retrospect.
And by the way, it's one thing for the police to say don't do anything if they're handling it. They didn't handle it. And this is why the Second Amendment is absolute. This is why the Second Amendment is your God-given right to self-preservation. A police officer, or really any public employee, any member of our government, does not have the right or authority to tell that man that he cannot protect his and his own. That wasn't his daughter, but a relative of his. He had to dig a grave. Guess what? A police officer does not have the right to tell you, no. You don't have the right to prevent digging a child's grave, a relative of yours. You don't have that right. We're going to stop you. Right there. Hey, we don't know if he would have stopped him. Would have given at least a fighting chance. The only fighting chance, because the police didn't fight the shooter. It's your God-given right to self-preservation. We don't know.
I mean, Solazar, in the United States, it is legal to own a tank. So, yeah.
What would have happened? But you know what?
Buckle.
I want more guys like that. And I want guys like that to not fear repercussions from the police or federal marshal.
Yeah. Guys, it's legal to own a tank. Can you legally own a tank? Yes, civilians can legally own tanks. There are hundreds to thousands of used tanks available for purchase online. However, it is often a complex process, especially when buying from overseas dealers. The dealer often ships the tank to the nearest seaport to the buyer. The buyer then needs to arrange the delivery of the tank from the port to their private property. Depending on where the buyer lives, shipping can cost anywhere between $15,000 and $25,000. When buying from a domestic dealer, the shipment is still likely to cost thousands of dollars, as most tanks cannot drive legally on the highway. The tank needs to be delivered on a trailer. So, yeah, you can own a tank.
Marshals or FBI in a situation like that. We're not talking about people going around hog wild with firearms. We're talking about where would there ever be a more...
I mean, you can drive it on private property. I know this because you can rent tanks to drive on, like, tank driving ranges.
Appropriate situation than a man crashing his vehicle, aiming a rifle at you. Guess what? He's now forfeit his right to live.
Yeah, absolutely.
He didn't have a gun. The report you just showed said explicitly that his wife had to arrive and bring him a gun. He didn't have a gun at this point.
Shooting at you. And by the way, I want more wives like that. Think about the mindset. The mindset is somebody is shooting at me. I'm not running and hiding. I'm running away.
No, he ran away and hid. The gun was being brought to him to keep him safe. And then he wanted to try and use it to stop a school shooting, which is, I think, a pretty admirable thing to do. But, like, the sequence of events that they're putting together here is incorrect.
Is bringing me a gun to handle the problem.
Right.
I'm not going to wait on anybody else. I'm not going to wait for this guy to go kill somebody else. That's the kind of mindset that it takes. The kind that storms a beach when you have to fight evil.
And then people say it's
runs and hides.
And people say you're being foolish when you say it's not a gun.
CTV is just a dumb fuck. You don't really need to educate yourself on who he is.
It's a character issue. Yeah, you know what? We do have a character issue. We want more guys like that and wives like his. Hey, guess what? Guess if they were on the police force. Yeah. And they had the courage to stand up to their chief, their captain.
Not police officers don't care. Okay, they get paid either way. They're not paid to die on the job. They have no legal responsibility to help people. Cops will quite literally just watch you drown rather than intervene and do anything.
Sergeant, whoever was it, the chief, the police chief in this case,
he's been hiding.
Yeah.
Well, and think if he had the gun at the time.
Yep.
Yeah,
been done.
Yeah, just imagine if he had a gun at the time. It all would have been done. Except we know that police exchanged fire with the Uvalde shooter before the shooter got into the school. And we also know that the shooter already had hit an assault rifle ready to shoot, which is why they had to run. Yeah, exactly. He would have been the first target because he would have had he would have been the threat to the shooter, you know?
And that happens far more often than the mass shootings you hear about in the news. Far more often there are scenarios.
Citation needed.
Where that man has a gun, bang, problem solved. 1.6 million last year. An average of...
Citation needed.
Sometimes 3 million a year. Compared to...
Citation needed. Like, again, if this was at all true, Steven Crowder would be alleging what? Like, 3 million people got killed in self-defense last year? Or 1.6 million people got killed in self-defense last year? Absolutely. There's no way that's true. There is no way that's true. Good night, Hundo. And unless, like, the people shooting in self-defense are, like, just crack shots and under pressure, they're disabling their opponents, you know, shooting the gun or the knife out of their hands like some kind of gunslinging Western hero. I was killed in self-defense myself.
to in the teens.
I was killed inside in self-defense.
Thousands of firearm homicides, the vast majority of which are gang-related. It's not even close, but I want you to see that individual story and know that it could have potentially all been stopped. And guess who prevented someone from being a hero? Was your government, who's there to help. I'm sorry, the true heroes. TikTok nurses and Uvalde police force. The true hero.
Wait, so is Steven Crowder pro-police? I thought Steven Crowder was pro-police. What happened to Police Lives Matter? What happened to what happened to all of the police support? I thought police needed bigger budgets, Crowder. Are you suddenly in favor of abolishing the police because it's suddenly become clear that police aren't actually going to intervene in active shooter situations? Crazy.
Heroes.
Oh, right. Police need the budget so that they can kill more black people. That makes sense. Airsick, thank you very much for the follow.
And by the way, this isn't the only story we're hearing coming out of Uvalde. They want it all to be about gun control because there's a lot that doesn't add up. So Angelia Gomez, she was the mother, if you guys remember. She was handcuffed for trying to enter the school. Mm-hmm. She alleged that, we have this from Daily Beast, federal marshals handcuffed her because she was intervening in an active investigation. She also said that she tried to run to the school after the police told the marshals to release her. So they were saying you're not allowed to intervene. She was trying to get to the school. They let her go. She was going to go to the school anyway. And then she said that law enforcement warned her that she needed to stop. Now, we don't know if this is true, just to be clear. I tend to believe it, just to be so we don't know. It's her word against, the well-trusted federal marshals. She said that they
camera footage that seems
somewhat congruent. Yeah, it would seem relevant, but I'm just saying I don't want to jump to conclusions, but based on what we know from this shooting and the chief and how the officers acted and how long they waited and did nothing and how the shooter was stopped by a lone Border Patrol agent who had the balls that the entire police force did not.
Wait, he wasn't stopped by a lone Border Patrol agent. Border Patrol had a SWAT team go in.
I tend to believe that she's not lying. She said that they warned her to stop telling her story. Here you go.
She's on probation for some charges from about a decade ago, and that she received a call from someone in law enforcement telling her that if she keeps talking to media or if she, keeps sharing her story, that she might face some kind of violation for obstruction of justice. So she was holding back from sharing her story until now because a judge told her that she was brave and that her probation would be short.
I'm a little confused here. There's a couple of points. Obviously, the fact that marshals were on the scene early on.
When you look at where they would have been located, would have been significantly.
Yeah, he's so confused. For some reason, multiple days after the shooting, when we know that police stood outside and did nothing for an hour.
Further away than you would anticipate them being there at this time.
Especially if it's true.
Yeah, I don't know how she's been on probation for a decade. That seems wild as hell.
True, from their official Twitter account tweeting the timeline of when they responded and how quickly they responded. By the way, they would have to be driving well over 100 miles per hour to make that distance.
Well, the law doesn't apply to them, but yes.
Or, teleported, who knows. The other thing is they stopped her because she was interfering in an active investigation. That's a curious way to phrase, hey, there's an active shooter situation. You can't go in because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
An active investigation?
Well, just like that man whose wife brought him a gun.
I could be
We'll take care. Hey, stop. We're investigating.
It's thumb speak, guys. Don't pretend you've never heard it before. You guys play defense for cops all the time.
It's my daughter in there. Hey, stop. We're investigating.
It's weird choice of words.
Also, what is she on probation for from 10 years ago?
Being a badass and saving lives?
Well, I'd like to know, because that's an insane amount of probation. I'd like to see what it's for.
Yeah.
I can't
Dave's
imagine.
like, I've done a lot of bad stuff and I didn't get
No, I don't know I don't know people with 4 DUIs that had 10 years of probation. That's a lot. And it certainly doesn't say anything about, minorities getting the short end of the stick.
No, and you know what? This is actually an important point, too. Here, look. People talk about finding common ground. Well, there's common ground to be found on the police force, and certainly on the militarization of police, and certainly the three-letter bureaus that exist, right? Oh, sorry, these are the institutions that you're supposed to trust now, according to Democrats. There's common ground to be found in that I don't think they're efficient. I don't think the solution is defunding them. We've talked about that. However, where we diverge...
Wait, Crowder, how exactly do you think one would solve the escalating militarization of the police? I'm just curious. How would one solve the escalating militarization, unnecessary militarization of the police? Other than through defunding. Like, taking away the funds that would be used to continually militarize the police.
Look, the left, for you to believe the narrative as to the problems with the police force today, from the left, you have to believe that they had a secret meeting behind your back, including the black police officers, to go out and simply hunt black people, right? That's the Black Lives Matter.
No, you don't have to believe that. What the hell? Nah, it's just that disproportionately African American areas are disproportionately heavily policed, and this leads to disproportionate, arrests of minorities, and there are multiple additional problems going on here, but what we know is disproportionate policing does not lead to better, crime outcomes. Fuck, man.
Matter. No justice, no peace, even though you're actually more likely, if you're confronted by police, to be shot if you're white, and you're far more likely to be shot as a police officer by...
No, you're not more likely to be shot by police officers if you're white. That's not how it works. Black people are shot disproportionately, meaning that they are more likely to be shot than white people are. There are more white people in America than there are black people. Black people proportionally small, white people proportionally big. When you adjust for the proportions, black people are way more likely to get shot by police. Yeah, 2.5 times more likely, 250% more likely to be killed by a cop.
A black criminal, I think...
maybe Steven Crowder's onto something here about being against, socialism in schools, okay? If this is how the socialized Canadian education system educated him, all right?
16 times more likely than a police officer is to shoot a black man. But they want you to believe that the problem with the police is they're all racist. The only...
Citation fucking needed? White people are 16 times more likely to be shot by police? Fucking citation needed, my dude.
Logical leap that I'm asking you make to understand the problem with the police force in Uvalde is that human beings are inherently selfish, flawed, and often cowardly.
Damn, sounds like we shouldn't have police then, I guess. Because if humans are selfish, flawed, and cowardly, what the fuck do we need police then for? Because if they're going to be selfish and cowardly, why and flawed, why would we want them to have carte blanche to do whatever to people? Why would we want that? Damn, based Steven Crowder coming out as a police abolitionist. Not even a police defunder, a police abolitionist. Fuck yeah.
That's it. Yeah. I don't think they didn't go in because I don't think they told that man to not use his gun because he was clearly Latino. I don't think that's what it is. I don't think that's what it was with the woman. I think it's because they were in over their head, they were cowardly, and they now want to cover their tracks because no one likes the feeling of accountability when you screwed up. That's it. And what I want is more accountability from police officers. What I want is better...
Oh, yeah, I'm sure Steven Crowder wants to see more police officers put on trial for killing black people. That's absolutely what Steven Crowder advocates for on his show on a regular basis.
The same solution with teachers. You know, the kind of teachers who take their kids to drag queen story hour. That's really what I believe the problem is. It's a problem of human nature. And so...
Wait, holy shit. The problem is that in Steven Crowder's world, the problem is that teachers bring their kids to drag time story hour, which then turns them, like, there's an intervening step in the middle there, and then they turn into mass shooters. Amazing.
The role of government is to curtail the problems of human nature. Unfortunately, now we have a government that enables it because it's bloated and it's bureaucratic and it seems to...
What does that mean, Steven? Where are you getting your understanding of human nature from? I need you to empirically prove human nature. AJE, thank you for the follow. Because here's the thing, guys. If you go into academia, there's no such thing as human nature. If you look into academia, what you get is that there is not human nature, but there is human culture. Like, our culture and cultural values are different. And that's largely what, like, determines different, like, societal differences. If we had one human nature, like, human beings would be roughly the same regardless of what society they like we would live in. We would have similar values, we would have similar, like, ideologies, but that's not what we find. We find that India is extremely different from, like, the United States. We find that the culture of, like, people who have been on islands in the Philippines for, like, isolated for thousands of years, very culturally distinct from, like, someone like a member of a South American tribe that's been uncontacted. Like, all of these are very different. Like, there isn't a human nature. There's just human society and the basic needs that we all commonly share. AJE, I've seen you before but forgot to follow, and your username. Well, now you got it. Yeah, there's, like, the North Sentinelese.
To try and bring out the worst among us.
Yeah.
But I would say even, let's take the police side of what I just heard the news anchor say. Did they say that her probation would be extended if she didn't stop telling her story?
Well, the judge said she was brave and that it would be, her probation would be short. That's what they said.
Is what they said. Okay.
Yeah, but then they said that the marshals were telling her.
Oh, that's what the marshals said.
Well, they were going to charge her with obstruction of justice. And by the way, I think if you're on probation, there are some things you can't do. Breaking the law is one of them.
Hey, by the way, also...
Yeah, but that's certainly not obstruction of justice when you're telling what happened.
Right.
You're revealing the lies. I mean, that's obstruction of
justice. Okay, I just want to make sure I heard that right, and I didn't.
Right.
Okay, so that was the marshals telling her that, and the judge said no.
Right, and by the way, obstruction of justice would also imply that there could even be the possibility of justice with all the children dead when you could have acted and you didn't. No, there's no justice. So this is one of those things. I don't necessarily want justice. I want punishment for the people who didn't do their job.
Yeah.
Not punishment for someone who manufactured a firearm. I want punishment for the people who didn't do their job. Not punishment for the mom who tried to do the job of the people who didn't do their job. Not punishment for the Mexican man we just saw who tried to do the job of the people who were too afraid to do their job. There will never be justice. You don't have a corner, leftist.
And his wife.
Yeah. You don't have a corner on outrage. You just have a corner on aiming your outrage at the wrong targets.
Every time.
All right. Here we go. Let's move on to this. Unless there's anything else, I think that's pretty much all we have to say about that.
I do think so.
We're going to have some people like, why don't you back the blue? Because there are also pricks in blue. As a general rule.
Okay, I don't care about this next segment about Biden. Let's go to AOC is Native American.
Look, here's the thing. The Native American trump card is one of those sacred cows. It's one of those third rails that nobody wants to touch. And boy, does it grind my gears. This idea that for some reason land should be given back to some common ancestral existence where people were all living in harmony. Do you know, we had one civil war here in the New World, and it was really bad and bloody. Yeah. Before the New World, it was always civil war between...
No. Actually...
tribes. It's not even close. You know who would be worse off if the land were given back to the natives, which, by the way, is a misnomer if we were going to get into that term?
Yeah.
Would be the Native Americans.
They wouldn't have casinos anymore.
Damn. You know, like, if only there were, like, I don't know, land back activists that have thought about this for decades. And, like, one of the main things that they're currently advocating for is just giving land back for, like, Native American peoples to like tend federal like wildlife preserves, which would be pretty cool.
So speaking to her,
I'd have so much more money.
Yes. Crying out loud. Give all the land back. Well, we don't want the whole country to look like every episode of Cops. How about ever driven through tribal land recently? Yeah. Does it look like they're
holy fuck, dude?
Living off the like you could just live off the land.
Hey, Steven. Are you sure about that, bud? Are you sure about that? Do you know the history of indigenous reservations, Steven? Because, they were deliberately chosen so that you could not, in fact, live off the land in those areas. It was literally, like when people talk about wasteland, it was literal wasteland. It was not good for farming. It was not good for hunting. It was wasteland to America, to the United States. Yeah. Goodness.
What is it? What does Comanche mean? Land of 1,000 trailer parks? Have you guys driven?
Yeah, I wonder why the people who were almost completely genocided might not be doing so hot. I wonder why. I wonder why, huh? Curious.
Driven through? Is that at a certain point you go, well, this is what you've done with it. Why would we give it all back to you? Also, why would we give back any of it? We won. I know you don't like it, but that did happen. And you tried to win because you were actually killing their ancestors and you were raping their ancestors and you were enslaving their ancestors. Then we came here and, we tried to purchase land from you in some cases, like Manhattan and the Canarsie. We have a bill of sale and then you came back anyway.
Yeah, because, they didn't have a conception of land ownership, Steven. Also, like, indigenous people weren't living in a state of constant warfare with each other? Like, Europeans were? Europeans were constantly at war with each other. Indigenous people, not so much. And when they did go to war with each other, it wasn't like, we will wipe out all of your tribe. It was like, 2 or 3 people died. And then, like, amends were made. If that, And
so we had to start fighting you.
Well, if stereotypes are so...
Well, no. You didn't have to start fighting. You chose to do it to take the land by force.
Bad. Why is the building shaped like a teepee and filled with buffalo slot machines?
Good point.
We didn't make you build it.
We were driving to Tulsa.
Well, we showed up and it's all casinos.
We were driving. We saw that poster of the lady with she had the face paint on.
Yeah.
She had the headdress, the bow and arrow, and a Choctaw Casino T-shirt.
Yes.
You want to know why I'm pissed off with it? Come on.
Because she was white?
Yeah, well, that as well. Hey,
Elizabeth Warren?
I am 1/19th Iroquois. What? But you're using your cell phone. It's only.
Fuck, dude. How does he get more racist? I keep thinking he's hit the bottom.
The 4G, it's LTE, it's not true 5G, it's cricket. Stop oppressing my people.
I don't know why people say that. That's not special. Yeah, my I'm 136th Apache. Oh, so your great-great-grandpa was a rapist?
Right.
Great.
Oh, jeez.
No, that's Comanche. No, that's right. It's both. I see your point.
But, I guess. Oh, so I gotta go.
Let me go speak with our leader, Chieftain EBT card. Hi.
They all wear jeans.
He lives off the land, but his name means one who still wears water wings.
Jeans with sport coat and headdress.
Yes. One who shops exclusively at Brooks Brothers. Speaking to her captivated audience on Instagram, AOC shared her feelings about her reawakening to her Native American roots, heritage, and then proceeds to make a bunch of claims which are just laughable.
I really, really feel you and understand you on this. In fact, I feel like one of the things that first started awakening and connecting me in a deep way to my indigenous heritage was connecting with the Lakota Sioux in Standing. When I was at Standing Rock, surrounded by Native people, Lakota Sioux, Cherokee, all people coming together, and I looked around, it really just clicked that this is us, like, and the grace that they extended to say, no, you are relative, was really formative for me. And while we may not be and come from the same exact lineage, there is a commonality to that ancestry, and it's important for us to recognize that we were raised and we were told growing up that we were extinct, that Tainos don't exist. And it's really important for Puerto Ricans to understand that that narrative is being challenged right now.
So there are a few things, and we'll get to that, by the way. She's talking about these people from Puerto Rico who I believe traveled from Venezuela. But by the way, you understand the reason that you were taught that they were extinct is because of leftist indoctrination. They tried to push this false narrative of a genocide, which never happened. We'll get to
No. Stephen, you're aware Jewish people were genocided, right? In World War II, the Jews were the victims of genocide? Just because the group continues to exist doesn't mean that a genocide didn't take place. Now, for those of you who are unaware, we've talked about this before, right? There was a man by the name of Christopher Columbus, and in 1492 he sailed the ocean blue, and then he arrived in the New World, where he encountered the very first native peoples he encountered were the Taínos. Okay, and he wrote, and I'll do a direct quote here. They traded with us and gave us everything they had with goodwill. They took great delight in pleasing us. They are very gentle and without knowledge of what is evil, nor do they murder or steal. Your Highness may believe that in all the world there can be no better people. They love their neighbors as themselves, and they have the sweetest talk in the world, and are gentle and always laughing. And then the second time he came back, he began demanding tribute. Any Taino over the age of 14 years old was required to give like a hawk's bell, like a hawking bell, full of gold, or 25 pounds of spun cotton. And if you did not deliver this, Columbus and his men would chop off your hands and leave you to die. Now, this went on for a very long time. And it became part of what was then known as the encomienda, which is basically the early Spanish plantation system. Columbus was a colossal piece of shit? Yes, he was. And, basically, the population of the Taínos went from... I need to look... I had an estimate in my head. Yeah. Let's see. So, beginning, at the beginning, there were either over 100,000 to 1 million Taínos. And at the end, only 32,000 survived. By 1514, at which point 3,000 Taínos united under a leader and engaged in a successful rebellion for a measure of independence. 32,000 out of anywhere from 100,000 to 1 million. Okay? Like, yeah, I think that counts as a genocide. I'm pretty confident in saying that counts as a genocide. And yeah, there is some debate in modern circles about whether or not technically the Taínos people still live, because like so many of them were killed. There is like, you know, a discussion about whether or not like they've basically been assimilated into other cultural groups. Yeah, but you know, 1 out of 10 of them survived. So you know, they were they weren't genocided.
To that, but first, let's get.
I think she's a dinosaur.
Yep.
Yes.
By the way, she's one of them, but she's extinct. I'm confused. And we don't exist, honey. We are extinct.
No, they told her.
But what about us? That doesn't matter.
Well, I wouldn't mind her being extinct. She'd come up as oil, and then it's like, you know, it's perfect. It's all
It just starts off really
I
poorly.
was surrounded in liquor bottles.
So she,
because Native Americans and alcohol. Get it?
Let's go to the first claim. Okay, so the first claim is she refers. Well, just listen to what she says. She refers to them as Lakota Sioux.
I really, really feel you and understand you on this. In fact, I feel like one of the things that first started awakening and connecting me in a deep way to my indigenous heritage was connecting with the Lakota Sioux in stand-up.
All right, truth. Everyone go to AOC's Twitter. I believe it's at AOC.
At AOC or at Google.
And let her know that she needs to apologize because the term Sioux is considered derogatory by many of the Lakota people, just to be clear. So she doesn't even have the self-awareness to be concerned about that.
The terms Lakota and Sioux are often used interchangeably to refer to the tribe of native peoples of the Dakotas, but which is preferred. The word Nada-Sioux was created by French traders, later adopted by the English as just Sioux. Is said to come from the Ojibwe word Natowisiwak, which means little snakes, as the Lakota were traditionally enemies of the Ojibwe. The words Lakota and Dakota, however, are translated to mean friend or ally, and is what they called themselves. Many Lakota people today prefer to be called Lakota instead of Sioux, as Sioux was a disrespectful name given to them by their enemies. The Lakota are a Native American people, also known as the Teton Sioux. They are one of the 3 prominent subcultures of the Sioux people. Oh, interesting. The term Sioux is an exonym created by the French transcription of the Ojibwe term Nada-Sioux, which can refer to any ethnic group within the Great Sioux Nation, or to any of the nation's many language dialects. Wow. So, Steven Crowder just kind of lied, I guess? Someone tell Lost Sioux that apparently he's insulting people. I think a lot of people in the Sioux Nation use Sioux. Where did he even find this source? I have no idea. Maybe I can Lakota or Sioux. Oh, it's from Black Hills Visitor. Oh my god. He literally got it from a tourism website. Western South Dakota is the ideal place to experience the culture of Plains Indians. Various powwows are held throughout the year, like the annual Oglala Lakota Nation Powwow in Pine Ridge, Black Hills Powwow in Rapid City, and the Rosebud Powwow in Rosebud. For a deeper look into the Lakota heritage, plan to visit the Akta Lakota Museum in St. Joseph's Indian School. It's located in... Plan to visit the Akta Lakota Museum in St. Joseph's Indian School is located... Wow, this article isn't even written properly. Yeah, it's a literal travel magazine source. Holy fuck, they're lazy. Like, you could just Google it you could just look it up on Wikipedia, bro. You're gonna get better info there. Yeah, alright, whatever.
Oh yeah, the bitch.
The term Natasu was originally coined by the French, later adopted by the English as Sioux, and it originated from the Ojibwe word
garbage.
Little snakes.
Pure,
and they were the enemy of the Lakota. So
garbage,
it was used
meaningless,
as a derogatory term. Now I understand that
nonsense.
there are different Sioux tribes. By the way, there are
That's
different
all they
languages,
were.
dialects, and we act like
Junk.
they're not even remotely
And
similar.
when I
So
thought
that everyone was
this is what
communicating
these
and
kids
living
in this
peace.
preschool
We'll get
are
to the war and
seeing.
the slaughter and the slavery in a second.
Indeed.
They wouldn't have been able to communicate in many ways. And if you even look at the different Sioux tribes, they don't even all agree on what that is, and the Lakota often find it offensive. So right now, in trying to pander, AOC, Miss Crazy Eyes herself, cannot even stop herself from offending a group of people. By the way, I don't care that it's offensive, just to be clear.
Well, yes, but Lakota means, I think, friendly, too, right? So you're completely off the board there. You're just like, oh, okay. Little Snakes.
Little Snakes makes sense for her.
Little Snakes? Is that a new rapper?
Yes.
Yes.
Little Snake.
Little Snakes X?
Little Snakes.
LB, I don't remember. It's from one of the early episodes that only showed up on the PragerU streaming site.
Snake.
Until he grows out of it. Then he's just Snakes.
Yep.
Snakes? I don't know no snakes.
It goes Lil.
Yeah.
Then he gets on a
plane.
Yeah, it becomes Big Snake.
Maybe Entrama would know.
And then when he goes to racial transition therapy, it becomes White Snake.
Yep.
And he gets sued, and then that's the end of Little Snakes.
No,
the point is, we just gave you the Little Snake saga.
Little Snakes on a plane.
Yep.
Yeah, they're really concerned about how offensive the word is.
Tired of these Lakota on this plane. So here's another claim that she makes, that they all share a common ancestry, which is hilarious.
When I was at Standing Rock,
They share a somewhat common ancestry because they're both indigenous people.
Surrounded by Native people, it really just clicked that this is us. And while we may not be and come from the same exact lineage, there is a commonality to that ancestry.
And by the way, when she says not the same exact, she means at all. So now, if you want to get technical about it, and here's the thing, it's just sort of like where we have the left wants to tell you, for example, with slavery, that, well, you're not really teaching American history. Well, hold on a second. No. We believe that you should teach American history, as it starts in American history. They go, oh, you should teach about the history of the slave. Okay.
Hey, Steven Crowder, I don't know if you know this, but there are these two big land masses that are called the Americas. And there's one in the north and one in the south. North America and South America. And the things that happened during the early periods of Western colonialism affected both. Joke back now, I don't know what you're talking about. Also, just I know they aren't going to care. But this is the historical proposed migration of the what would eventually become the Tainos people. So there you go. Likely came from like the northern area of Venezuela, or the eastern area of Venezuela. Vuvuzela.
Okay, well then hold on a second. Now it's a matter of how far back we go, because the slave trade existed before and it exists now. So we say if you're going to teach kids about slavery, you need to teach them about the West African slave trade. You need to teach them that over 90% of slaves were sold. They were not stolen. You need to teach
They do teach that? Also, it's American history, so you would teach them about the transatlantic slave trade, because that's the slave trade that brought slaves to America, that brought the people who would then eventually become African Americans to America, which pretty important component of American history.
Somewhere slavery.
Is he saying we shouldn't learn about this? Yes.
Originated. You go, no. Well, you just want to cut it off to make it seem like America is the only place that had slavery. Same thing if we're talking about common ancestry. I know what she means to say. She's talking about Native American tribes, and she wants you to think that they were all living.
Hey, buddy, when this place was called the Americas, and the Taino were native to the Americas, would they not then be Native Americans? And though they didn't come from the same lineage, which she acknowledges in her comment, they share the commonality of having been oppressed and genocided by colonial powers. Fuck, man.
Living together in peace, I guess, is what she wants you to believe, that we all share some commonality. Yeah. That's not true. Now, it is true that...
What? Yeah, we do, Stephen.
All human beings, if you, again, change the degree, have a common ancestry. According to Scientific American, you reach a date where family trees share not just one ancestor in common, but pretty much every ancestor in common. And this is really going to piss off AOC, but beginning in 1492, you begin to see the European genes flowing in every direction until estimates are that there are no people in South America today who don't have European ancestry.
How dare
you? Yeah? The presence of European ancestry doesn't make them... doesn't erase the presence of indigenous ancestry? What is this argument? But, like, seriously, chat, what is this argument? The presence of European ancestry doesn't preclude the existence of indigenous ancestry. This is bizarre.
Dare you, Stephen?
The weird part about this is, like, they act like these are owns, but they don't make any sense. Yeah, stupid fascist bullshit. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning in that direction too.
And then she also tried to claim, I guess she tried to draw another connection, didn't it? Okay. Did she? There's so many, it's hard to keep track of them. Did she try and claim that something about African cultural heritage too? I don't even know what that means, but we have a clip?
Yes.
Oh.
One more thing that's also super important to note is that our culture isn't just Taino, it's also Yoruba. So when our African ancestors were brought and enslaved to the island, they also brought Yoruba culture, which is why when you look at some of our most famous songs like Aguanile, they talk about Yemaya, Yemaya, oh,
shut up,
Yemaya. That is Yoruba.
Oh my god.
What? I don't understand. Yeah, of course. They were enslaved, Stephen. The Tainos were enslaved peoples, Stephen. The Yoruba then worked on the plantations alongside the Tainos. So yeah, there was a cultural communication there. A blending of cultures going on.
What? Just let the world burn.
Yeah.
I quit.
Why are they
What's
upset?
The point? She's a drawing, right? Like those eyes, that's anime.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah,
they're getting bigger.
It's like that Steve Odenkirk was the Thumb show.
Yeah, it's just
She's a little
bigger and bigger.
She's a little teta clacky. Quebecois, you can comment below. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know what she's saying there. The point is she wants to have her cake and be racist too.
Well, she's trying to, she's trying to be.
She's trying to claim all the things.
How are you confused, Steven? Yeah, Maya is the Yoruba sea goddess. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, do they just? I think they just heard a foreign language and like didn't know what to do. I think he just like all of their brains just short-circuited because they heard a word from a different language they weren't familiar with. Holy fuck.
And black. There we go.
What?
And Puerto Rican.
And Puerto Rican.
Wasn't she Mexican before?
No. Well, she was always Puerto Rican. She might have said she was Mexican.
Yeah. Where do you think the people in Puerto Rico, what do you think their ancestry is? My guys?
Because she was so traumatized when she was 4 miles away from the
cages.
No, 4 miles away from and also 4 miles away from the alleged bomb that was going. The point is, she lies about everything.
Well, she was Latinx, right?
Sure.
Which is pretty much a surefire sign that she's not Latin anything.
Correct.
Yeah.
What? I'm honestly baffled by what's going on now. Usually, I can follow the insane conservative like thread line here. But I've just lost it. This doesn't make sense at all. There's not like the words and sentences are complete, but they don't make sense next to each other.
I don't understand.
Think that guy who wanted to stop the Uvalde shooter who was told to stand down by the police with his gun? You think he would have been like, "Hey, you didn't use my pronouns, bro."
My good.
But what? AOC didn't talk about her pronouns in that. I think they all just got collective brain damage and are just going through the greatest hits of like, racism, transphobia, homophobia, etc. Maybe like a meteor or like a severe air pressure change happened. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, Ancom Libra, unfortunately, this man has reproduced. There is definitely a part of me that I wish he had still stayed in the closet and continued to secretly date trans women. I think that would have been better for society had he not reproduced. But I don't get to choose the best world. I just get to choose the world we have.
My friend Justin's Puerto Rican, and when we were kids, I never once thought he was extinct.
No,
I don't know what I just saw.
Well, you know what? Words and definitions change.
There are people that vote for this person.
Yes.
That is the truly scary part.
There's people who love her.
Yeah.
She's popular.
Yeah. I mean, that's a relative term.
Oh, Bockel, I think you got it. There's some kind of gas leak. They're overdosing on radon right now. Something's funky down there.
But in that very small subset of crazy in that area of the country. Here's something else too, and this kind of gets us
syphilis is popular technically. It's a household name.
It's syphilis. And gonorrhea.
And diarrhea.
Yes.
Like,
gonorrhea and syphilis.
Don't drink the water.
You know the song. Syphilis and gonorrhea, right? Maracas, what are you doing? I'm just tendering for votes. Why are you talking like that? Stop. Just let me have this.
Wait, was he trying to do a AOC impression? What? I don't understand. What? Yeah, like what was that? Was that an AOC impression or just like random Latino impression? Who's gay Latino impression? Sweetheart's cat. Hello. Yeah, he did that thing with the skeletons again. Well, yeah, he was doing like the gay skeleton thing, but then like mentioned voting. So was he like a gay Latino skeleton who was also AOC? God damn. You know what? I figured it out. They all ate beans together beforehand. They are currently suffocating on their own farts. It all makes sense.
It's not Hispanic.
Could be. Is it African? You're racist. You're racist.
What? Oh, I guess I also don't understand the component here of like syphilis and gonorrhea. Like, what? How did those two things enter the conversation? Are they saying that AOC has syphilis and gonorrhea? Are they making a joke about like how like the Spanish brought over syphilis and gonorrhea and then raped indigenous people? Like, is that the core of the joke there? The joke. This is standard Fundy reacting to a pagan religion. This is but like they I don't hear them talking about religion. It's like they just heard a foreign word and lost their shit. Yeah, it's like random shit, AOC eyes so big, and haha, gay Spanish lisp.
I'm doing my best. So,
where are your eyes going? They're just in a different room.
Right. Here's a claim that she talks about Standing Rock. Okay, and this is something that, look, when we're dealing with the Native American sort of culture here, and she uses the term indigenous, which I believe you're not supposed to use in that video, but I don't know. No. The point is, we learned indigenous in Canada, and then I came here, people told me it was offensive, you're supposed to say Native American, they still...
No, Native American people aren't offended by the word indigenous. I've never heard anyone say... I know a fair few like Native American folk. I have never heard any of them say that they're offended by indigenous. I've heard them say that they're offended by Indian because they're not from India. But oh my god, Lady Raincloud, if you're just popping in, this is some next level shit. Like this entire episode is insane shit.
Say indigenous in Australia. I don't care. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy that they can never live up to their own rules, and it's hysterical. So she would...
How? Wait.
That video, but I don't know. No. The point is, we learned indigenous in Canada, and then I came here, people told me it was offensive, you're supposed to say Native American, they still say indigenous in Australia. I don't care. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy that they can never live up to their own rules, and it's hysterical.
Wait, whose own rules? You just pointed out that Canada, North America, or Canada, the USA, and Australia each have different rules. And there's also probably different rules for different, like tribes, different bands. Like, yeah, they can't make up their minds.
So she was talking about Standing Rock. Okay, this is a when I was growing up, remember you probably learned Black Hills. This is a big thing, right? Talking about this is in Dakota. I don't know if Black Hills, this whole area goes across both Dakotas. I'm not entirely sure, but Black Hills, let's just say Dakota. Not the Lakota, who she refers to as the Sioux.
Yes.
They were demanding when I was growing up that the Black Hills be given back, right? And she was talking about Standing Rock, how we were all standing together. Okay. Here's the thing. Do we have that? We don't have that as a clip, do we?
No, I think that was the previous one.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the truth with that. When they talk about handing it back because we were all standing together, let me frame the truth in the form of a question. Let's Jeopardy this. Which tribe? So
probably the tribes that would have lived there. It'd probably be split between them. Like, it's not that complicated.
So they want you right now, like we're all holding hands together. We're all unified. You were never unified. Until the evil white man came. You were...
Yeah, definitely definitely never had, I don't know, some kind of Iroquois confederacy or something, or like some kind of I don't know, the seven, is it the seven bands? The Great Sioux Nation. Yeah, definitely never had any large unified political structures. Yeah.
We're all killing each other. Which tribe? There's so many tribes that have been in charge of the Black Hills over the course of what we have recorded, 10,000 years.
Really? Which ones? Name them.
Right? You had the Hidatsa, you had the Sanish. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly.
Let's see. Let's take a look here. Okay? The Arikara arrived in the Black Hills, followed by the Cheyenne, the Crow, the Kiowa, the Pawnee.
You had the Hidatsa, you had the Sanish. I don't know if I'm.
Then the three affiliated tribes, the Mandan, Hidatsa, Sanish. Okay. So 3, 7. We're up to 7.
I'm pronouncing this correctly.
Hidotsa?
Resided there long before the Sioux, as far as back as 900 AD. Then you had the Arikara. They arrived around 1500 AD. And then there's the Kiowa. You had the Cheyenne, the Crow, the Pawnee. Okay.
Okay, so 7. Yeah, how could we possibly divide South Dakota or the Black Hills of South Dakota into 7 different regions? I mean, South Dakota only has 66 counties in it.
Here's the thing.
How far back do we go?
Here's the thing. The Lakota took the Black Hills, right? Took them during, I believe it was the late 1700s and the early 1800s. Why? How? They outnumbered the Cheyenne.
Yeah.
So they took their shit, just to be clear. So you have the Kiowa, then you have the Cheyenne. So who do you give it back to? Do you give it back to the original tribe or the people who evicted that tribe or the people? We didn't invent evictions. We were just able to sign the notice in a singular language. That's all. We didn't create evictions.
That language, guns.
And at least we give a warning. They just said, we have more people than you. Therefore, leave or get raped. And I'm like, I guess we'll leave.
Historically, white people were the ones saying that.
Good choice.
Did you give them reservations, by the way? Did you give them land to go over and hang out on? Like, we want this land, but we'll give you some other land? No.
Yeah, and by the way, the Lakota beat the Cheyenne at that point. Do you know how? By outnumbering them. It depends where you go in the estimates. Back then it was considered a lot. If there were like 17,000 to 20,000 right there in that area of the Black Hills, it was enough for the Cheyenne to go, oh shit. So
just like that.
Just like that.
Standing on a hill.
They all want to act like right now, like we invented war.
Yeah, exactly. Or conquest.
Which tribe to give it back to? Right now, they all hold hands like, yes, I'm linking arms. Wait, you're the one who raped my great-grandfather. Oh, yeah. He took it how I gave it to him.
Time.
Well, times have changed.
Not much.
Not much, no. We're still... once if we get the land back...
Yes, this is inaccurate drunk this is inaccurate drunk uncle rambling at Thanksgiving history.
We're gonna go back to being the large raping ones.
Yes.
That was your nickname, wasn't it? Yeah.
Again, I don't understand the framing of like native peoples as like the ones who are doing the rapes. Especially when literally like 10 minutes ago, he referenced how there are no people in the entire continent of South America who do not have some amount of European ancestry. Okay? Like, how are indigenous people exactly the ones who are the rapers? When you've provided the reference yourself that is not the case. Good night, Entrama.
I didn't remember. I've done a lot of math.
Standing Rock.
Yes.
Named after me.
Yes. I smoke standing rocks. I smoke rocks standing.
Wait, by the way, just real quick. The Northern Black Hills approximate Lawrence and Meade counties and are roughly equivalent to the North Hills district of the Black Hills National Forest. Okay, so we got, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 different counties. 5 different counties? 6, 7. There are actually 7 counties in the Black Hills. So you could just give 1 county to each tribe that has a claim to that area. Or let them negotiate and figure it out amongst themselves. Like, Jesus.
So, let's go harass a kid in a MAGA hat. Oh, sounds like a party.
Why, are you an Italian guy posturing as an Indian?
So I don't understand how the European settlers' claim to that territory is any less valid than the native tribes before them who took it through violence. And by the way, we'll get to the point where not all of the land was taken from the new settlers through violence. It was almost always taken through violence between tribes, not always, but they were incredibly violent toward each other. You've heard the term tribal? You've heard that term?
Yeah, I wonder why they might have been violent when they were evicted from their land and had nowhere else to go and no other means to acquire a place to live. I wonder why. I wonder if perhaps violence might be a some kind of side effect of being genocided, perhaps? And perhaps the truly disgusting ones were the people engaging in the genocide.
There you go. So here's another claim that they make.
My tattoo knows that term.
Here's another claim that they make, that the natives were that it was a genocide. They were genocided.
Right.
Yes.
Again, I told you how many Lakota there were in Black Hills back then. Do you know how many there are today? Registered. That doesn't include the fakes who want to tell you at every dinner party that they're one portion asshole. That's the portion that's not Native American, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
The portion that's Native American is the only redeeming portion of those people.
Yeah,
I mean, like, I'm 1/16 Cherokee and you're 15/16 prick.
Yes.
So there are currently 70,000 registered Lakota Indians in the United States. So here's the truth.
Wow. 70,000 people? That's crazy, bro. Hey, fun fact, the current Jewish population around the world is 14.5 million, roundabouts. And after World War II, there were 3.5 million. So how could there possibly be have been a genocide going on if now there are over 10 million more Jewish people in the world? Clearly, the Jews were never genocided by Steven Crowder's logic. That's literally the argument he is making here. That the argument he is making would apply to any group of people that managed to survive a genocide. Just out of curiosity. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, let's see. The estimated populations for the indigenous peoples of the Americas prior to colonization was anywhere between 50 million and 100 million or more. But there are 70,000 Lakota left, so there wasn't a genocide, according to Steven Crowder. God damn. Yeah, this guy who earlier in the show was talking about how actually the Nazis had something right about genociding like queer people. Man, throughout this entire episode comes across as extremely pro-genocide of any groups that aren't, white Europeans. It's very, very odd. Between 1492 and 1600, 90% of the indigenous populations in the Americas had died. It means about 55 million people perished because of violence and never before seen pathogens like smallpox, measles, influenza. Yeah. Like, the amount of death we're talking about is on such an untold scale that there are some historians. There was a time period in Europe called the Little Ice Age, where there were multiple years of far, far colder temperatures, right? And that has been attributed by some historians to the fact that so many indigenous people died in the Americas that new plant life grew up around their settlements and around their fields, and basically caused the global temperature to drop because there was so much more foliage taking in CO2, a greenhouse gas. So it literally got colder.
Okay.
Google tells me pre-colonization, there were 112 million Native Americans. Now there are 6.79 million. That's less than the population of New York City. Huh. Yeah. Weird how that works, huh? But, I mean, he found, God, I'm fuck it.
The truth is, we genocided, and I know that's not really a term, but I'm just using it here.
Yeah.
We genocided the Native Americans. There are more Native Americans than ever. Well, then we screwed up.
Yes.
No, Stephen. There aren't more Native Americans than ever.
Holocaust, there being 60 million more Jews than before.
They're just bad at their job.
Genocide typically means wiping people out.
Yeah.
Stephen, I don't know how to tell you this, but Jewish people still exist. They still exist, Stephen. Again, like, he's so bigoted that I genuinely don't know if he's just stupid, or if, like, he's doing, like this is all, like, some kind of Andy Kaufman-esque bit.
There are approximately
It's definitely not an Andy Kaufman-esque bit. He's not smart enough to do that.
Numbers, and it's tough to get an official count. I don't know if you know this. The natives, all the tribes, didn't necessarily cooperate in a census. Try going banging teepee to teepee, taking your life in your hand.
Yeah, I wonder why Native Americans wouldn't want to participate in a census done by a government that had been actively trying to murder all of them. I wonder why even attitudes to this day might continue to persist in that respect. Fuck, man.
Hands.
They don't answer, and you're like, I know you're in there. I can hear you.
Right.
You're right. You're like 3 feet from me.
There's a fire.
Leave it on the teepee step and get the hell out of here. So there are approximately 200.
The walls are literally paper thin.
Approximately 248,000 Native Americans in 1890. Today there are 5.2 million Native Americans in El Salvador.
I wonder what the population was prior to colonization. Interesting that he picks the number from 1890 until 1960. Very strange.
So if you include Alaska Natives. Now, I know a significant portion of that includes people who are one portion Native American. And of course, that group does not include, I mean, it's almost a wonder. Elizabeth Warren. It's like she couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with her heritage. There's a good chance that you have some portion of Native American with you. The point here is there was a lot of intermarrying. It wasn't an intentional genocide. Doesn't mean that there weren't wars.
Oh no! What's that sound, folks? It sounds like inconvenient facts for Steven Crowder. The following quotes about American Indians are from various presidents since George Washington and up to President Barack Obama. Indians and wolves are both beasts of prey, though they differ in shape. George Washington. If ever we were constrained to lift the hatchet against any tribe, we will never lay it down till that tribe is exterminated or driven beyond the Mississippi. In war, they will kill some of us. We shall destroy them all. Thomas Jefferson. Yeah. We really never tried to genocide them, I swear. Please don't look at what the presidents of the United States said about Native Americans. Oh, Andrew Jackson. My original convictions upon this subject have been confirmed by the course of events for several years, and experience is every day adding to their strength. That those tribes cannot exist surrounded by our settlements and in continual contact with our citizens is certain. They have neither the intelligence, the industry, the moral habits, nor the desire of improvement, which are essential to any favorable change in their condition. Established in the midst of another and a superior race, and without appreciating the causes of their inferiority or seeking to control them, they must necessarily yield to the force of circumstances and ere long disappear. Yeah, please look at the Declaration of Independence. Here's Theodore Roosevelt. I don't go so far to think the only good Indians are dead Indians, but I believe that 9 out of 10 are, and I shouldn't like to inquire too closely into the case of the 10th. Yeah, we tried to genocide the Native Americans. Claiming we didn't is just blatantly ahistorical, even if you just go on the quotes from the presidents themselves. And let's take a look at the Declaration of Independence. Let me read to you this quote from the Declaration of Independence. He has excited domestic insurrections against us and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. Yeah, it's not great. Not great. Ah, Raven Honey, that's okay. You can spam as much as you want. Not great. Let racism die, as worthless as it ever was. True! I like you, Raven Honey.
Or it doesn't mean that there weren't wars. Doesn't mean that there wasn't unfair play, foul play on behalf of the new settlers. Sure, there also happened to be foul play on behalf of all the tribes beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that justifies genocide in Steven Crowder's book. Steven Crowder, if he lived in Nazi Germany, would be like, sure, look, us Germans are going a little too far with this concentration camp thing, but, the Jews went a little bit far with those centuries of money lending. Like, that, he's literally doing that, just with Native Americans.
Yeah. And they had a long chance. So when people say give the land back, I was just hoping, honestly, that Donald Trump would have just come back at some point, just to mind screw, like, all right, look, we're going to give it all back to the Vikings. Good luck. And we're like, oh, shit.
In this corner.
And they're not, by the way, you're not even native. They're Siberian. They're Asian Siberian when you look at the people here. They crossed over at the land bridge through. This idea that, are they just native because they were here a certain amount of time ago? My point is, no.
Yes, it's relative, my dude.
One was really native here. People came here, and then they started fighting each other, and then better people at fighting fought them.
Yeah, better people at fighting. Also, does he think that people always lived in Europe?
One. Now, it wasn't only gained through fighting. This is a culture clash that takes
my rear end. Yes, that money lending
place. So here's another truth that may be uncomfortable for a lot of people as it relates to the idea of genocide. I use this example quite a bit. You guys have heard of Manhattan?
Mm-hmm. Small little place.
Once or twice.
Yes. So Manhattan, it was purchased from the Native Americans. Okay, a lot of people don't know this. So this is something that would take...
Yeah, that doesn't... Again, Native Americans did not have a concept of land ownership in the same way white settlers did.
It would take place a lot.
For beaver pelts.
It was for 60 guilders. And that would include thousands of beaver pelts. That would include all kinds of timber, right? They bought it for 60 guilders. There was a bill of sale. Okay, and we have the references available at lighthousecrowder.com. We have a previous show map. I don't have all the numbers.
Well, if they have a bill of sale, then that makes it okay.
In front of me, but it was a ton of beaver pelts. Timber was purchased. I believe it was the Canarsie there. There was another tribe. And what happened is they were like, well, look, we don't really have advanced boats. We were on this island. A lot of them were living nomadically. It was a pain in the ass. And so all of a sudden, these white guys with funny colored beards showed up and they said, hey, we'll give you all of this stuff for it. And they said, okay, great. Let's cross over there where we don't have to take a boat everywhere. We don't have to take the Staten Island Ferry. Hey. So they left. Then Manhattan started being developed and they came back. Like, we really like what you've done with the place. We were wrong about this pad. Imagine if you purchased a house right now, homeowner, and then you came back to your house tonight after work, and the previous family that sold it to you was just living there.
Yeah, we like what you did with our house.
And you're just like, well, but I paid you for the house.
No.
They're like, yeah, but we like it now.
Yeah.
We didn't like it then, but we saw what you did with the plumbing. You got rid of the linoleum, replaced it with granite, so we're going to live here now. And you said, you can't do that. Only back then there was no police. There was nothing else to do. You would be like, now I have to kill all of you.
Yeah, you just have to... You really were backed into a corner. There really was no other option than doing genocide. What the fuck are you on about, dude? Fucking hell. Steven Crowder is just objectively pro-genocide.
So stupid. Wait, you wouldn't do that today?
That kind of stuff happened all the time back then.
Hey, Mr. Fings, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. Thank you for helping to make my content possible.
They didn't. Certain tribes didn't have a concept of personal property, so there was a lot of trading that took place. And then there were also battles that...
Oh, you mean tribes didn't have a concept of personal property, so like when they came back, it wasn't like to be assholes, it was just because they thought it was totally fine for them to come back, and then they were murdered? Wow.
Took place. But not nearly as brutal as Native Americans were with each other, and I hate...
Citation needed, my dude.
I hate even using that term because it's a BS term. That's another claim that they make. The natives are native. Again, no. The Taino people where she's talking about, like, we all share a common ancestry. So she's talking about the Taino, however she says it. I don't know why I said it with a Chinese accent.
Taino? Because it has an accent, dumbass.
Taino.
Well, she did too.
The point is, it's about as offensive as how she said it.
Yes.
They migrated to the... Do you guys say Caribbean or Caribbean?
Caribbean.
Yes.
She's talking about, like, we all share a common native. Again, no. Oh, however offensive as how she...
Caribbean.
Okay.
I guess you could go either way, though.
I've heard people say it either way.
Well, I say
So he just makes the claim, like, oh, okay, all indigenous people are bloodthirsty and, like, horrible, awful, shitty, etc. I remember reading about Native Americans asking how high into the sky and how deep into the ground land ownership went. Yeah.
When referring to the Disney ride.
But why?
It sounds better.
All right.
Well, it follows pirates better, but if you're talking about, like, if I'm like Somali pirates.
Right.
Different.
The last time I went on that ride, I Left a grumpy in the boat.
Yes. All over the sheets.
So she said that the Taino people migrated to, she said we all share a common ancestry. No, the Taino people migrated to the Caribbean from...
Yeah, she said that they share a different, like, lineage. Meaning, different lineage. The common ancestry she's referring to is the colonization, you dumbass!
From what is present-day Venezuela.
Ah.
Okay. So, there you go. I don't know if this is...
How did that back up your claim about how, like, violent Native Americans are? It didn't. Because you're full of shit.
Right, you've got North America, South America, okay?
This is low budget.
They came up.
Michigan.
They came up. All right? Venezuela's south. Clear enough? Now, let's go to all the...
West, but...
Yeah. Whereas if you look at the Native Americans who would be here in North... As you know them, they came from Asia, with the majority...
Stephen, where do you think the Native Americans in South America came from? See, Stephen, where do you think the indigenous folks of South America came from? They came from the same land bridge, Stephen. Yeah, he thinks they materialized like potatoes from the ground. Goodness.
Coming in one group. Here you go from the University College of London, reference available at loudearthcrowder.com. Scientists have found that Native American populations arose from at least 3 migrations, with majority descended entirely from a single group of first American migrants that crossed over through Beringia, I don't know how to pronounce, a land bridge between Asia and America, what would probably be known as present-day Siberia. A lot of people don't even think of, areas of Russia as Asia, but it actually is, as General Patton referred to them, the Asiatics. So the point is, no, not the same at all.
Yeah.
They came from different areas, and so then it becomes a matter of who was there first. By the way, why would they have left Venezuela? That's a question that needs to be asked. I don't have the answer for you right now because I only have so much time in the day. I'm willing to bet there were some people who had to leave Venezuela for the Caribbean because there were people back there in Venezuela who said, you can be my slave or leave this place. And they said, well, we're just going to leave this place.
We'll get in a boat and go out on the water and not know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Roll the dice.
See what happens.
Hey. So this is one of those things. It's this constant.
Vuvuzela is eternal, Bacchal Industries.
Constant victim. I mean, I don't want to even say victim complex because...
Yeah, why would Native Americans feel victimized after centuries of genocide?
Assume that there's some sort of value in being a victim to begin with. It's this constant false perpetuation of victimhood. And it's not even based in reality. I realize that as all oppressed people, the people who left Venezuela from their oppressors and the people who were killing other people in these tribes that are completely unrelated, that we all share a common ancestry and that we need to sign the Green New Deal.
They literally do share a common ancestry. And they are from different lineages. Yes, quite literally. Most anthropologists believe that people arrived in South America by crossing over that land bridge that you mentioned, Stephen. They just then were separated for a long-ass time.
More money, please. More money, please. How about everything you just said is bullshit, and we give no land back whatsoever? Why? Well, because we want it at this point. And guess what? When you guys, and when I say you guys, I don't want to speak in broad strokes because I know there are so many tribes that exist, and I don't want to disrespect the scalping that you did amongst each other because you guys were killing, enslaving, and raping each other before we came here, and now there are more Native Americans or portion Native Americans than ever. That's not genocide.
I'm still quite pleased at this reality that we live in, where a couple years ago the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that half of Oklahoma now belongs to Native Americans. I don't really know what the fallout of that has been so far, but that's pretty great. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Half of Oklahoma. Hell yeah. Let's see. What does that mean? The ruling means some tribe members found guilty in state courts for offenses committed on the land at issue can now challenge their convictions. Only federal prosecutors will have the power to criminally prosecute Native Americans accused of crimes in the area. Tribe members who live within the boundaries may also be exempt from state taxes, according to Reuters news agency. More than 1.8 million people, of whom about 15% are Native American, live on the land, which spans 3 million acres.
That's called winning a war and then being, historically speaking, incredibly gracious about it. Hey, also, send your messages to AOC on Twitter.
Yes. Native Americans should just be grateful that they weren't all put to the sword. Like, that is quite literal. Stephen Crowder saying that Nazis had something right when they genocided gay, queer people. And also saying that Native Americans should be grateful that they still exist. Amazing. Incredible.
Twitter, because I gotta tell you, she should not.
I'm curious what land back would look like. I mean, generally speaking, one of the first steps I've heard a lot of advocates push for is like returning like federal, like the federally controlled like wildlife reserves to native control. You know, like the millions of acres of land that the United States doesn't do anything with. Oh no, Shifty Cat. Stephen Crowder is 100% a fascist. 100%. Worst thing that Canada ever sent here.
Not be tarring and feathering the good Lakota people. The good Lakota people, not like those Cheyenne pricks. The good Lakota people with the moniker of Little Snakes, of Sioux. They don't like that, AOC. And you know what? That won't happen on my watch. We're going to go watch a transgender on a tricycle that my father happened to record while driving down his, oh, you two piss off.
Oh, we did it. We did it, folks. We made it through. Here you go. You can have your lamb back. Does he not know what Lakota Sioux is? Well, Lady Raincloud, you see his very reputable source that he used for that is was a travel magazine site. So no. I hate him so much. I do too.